The Joe Rogan Experience.
There was an energy I tapped into that felt like I was playing a role, but I couldn't figure out what the plot was, who my co-stars were, where somebody show up with like a page one rewrite.
Right.
That's what we fucking need, you know. Yeah. And it got away from me, and had it not been encouraged, I think it could have been curtailed. It could have been shut down a lot sooner.
Right, but you become kind of captured to the image.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was something and just recently, something I stumbled onto. I was in some way, I was being a bully. It had a bullying kind of energy about it, and I've never been that guy.
How so? Like bullying?
The way I was attacking people and the way I was challenging people. I was like a tough guy on the block and had all these soldiers. I had this whole cadre behind me, and it was like, inviting people into the ring. I've never been in the ring. What are we doing,
You're on coke. That's what it is. It's total cocaine behavior.
Among other things. Yeah, and I think there was a whole testosterone component as well. That was just out of control, because there's what do they recommend, like a quarter-sized dollop and like every other day. And no, I there's a line in the book where I say I was slathering that shit on like a fucking Pond's commercial.
Oh, so you were using the cream?
Yeah, which is hard to measure. It's interesting because when you finally get some distance from something, you start to realize that it wasn't really so much about what you said it was about in the moment. And I'm really realizing it wasn't about the job, wasn't about Chuck. It was about all the stuff in my personal life. It was about trying to just be a certain guy at work, be a certain guy at home, and then just never having the time to be a certain guy with me. And I just couldn't find any place to find any refuge or solace or any type of just a moment to breathe, just to decompress.
That's so important.
Yeah, and it's not in the book because I don't remember it well enough to put it in the book, and that was kind of how I decided what's in there and what's not, right? Or if something just isn't true, it's not in the book. And so, but I was trying to just kind of, I went through 2 divorces and had 4 children during that run of 8 years, and so
that's crazy.
It's insane, yeah, and they both, they fell apart for myriad reasons and whatever, but there wasn't time to heal the last one before the next one kicked off, but that's all on me. You know what I'm saying? That's all on me making those decisions. Yeah. That's one of the through lines in the book, is that it like really comes down to really being all about choices, but then, yeah, and but it's just for it to be just talking about the bullying stuff, for it to be so directed at a guy who, if you really break it down, what did he really do to me? He created this environment with a dream character in an amazing show, or so people tell me, right? That was the toast of the town, right? And all he asked from me was to just just show up, be responsible, know your lines, hit your marks, do your fucking job. Those were the only demands. Essentially, the stuff I told him before I took the job that I was going to do. So, and then I turn it into that. It's really difficult to really look back on that and figure out why it got that far, how it got that far.
I can help you out.
Okay.
Testosterone and cocaine.
Testosterone and cocaine. Yeah.
It'll have you having all kinds of conversations with people in your head that'll tell you exactly what you're doing is correct.
Right. Sorry,
Did you ever talk to Chuck? Did you ever Chuck Lorre? Sorry.
Yeah. No, it was. Yeah. No, that was. I was really grateful we were able to do that.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, I was carrying that around for too long.
Yeah.
He hired me for a show he had a few years ago called Bookie, with Sebastian Maniscalco, right?
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so I came in and I played myself, did a few scenes, did a cameo, did some fun stuff, and just back on a set with Chuck, and it was like it just felt like it did in the early parts.
Oh, that's good on him for not holding a grudge too.
Yeah,
that's awesome. And you didn't have any shame.
I didn't.
No. Because
I'd watched something like a couple days before I sat down with Andrea Canning, and it was this old interview with Charlie Gibson on some special they did for ABC, right? I don't even think, it wasn't a GMA piece. It was like a more in-depth, one of those exposés they do, and it was me coming out of rehab. And I remember watching myself and just being I was like, that guy's a fucking sissy, man. That guy's a fucking pussy. What's wrong with him? Look at him, all that shame, all that embarrassment. Like, no. We're not doing that anymore. So that got locked in.
Oh,
yeah, because
wow.
I remember how I remember how I felt watching me doing it their way.
Yeah.
And I was like, no. And then I got the brain full of fucking nuclear crazy cream that I'm fucking just covering myself in, and yeah, that's what 2Ks. That's like the donuts, right?
Right.
And yeah, man, and you know where the material came from, right? Those slogans and all that stuff.
No.
Was Brian Wilson
from the Beach Boys?
No, the Brian Wilson pitcher for the Giants, the guy they called the Beard.
Oh.
Yeah. I was on the phone with him like a couple days before that, because Tony Todd and I were watching baseball highlights. And I was like, wow, this guy's a fucking trip. Tony, get him on the phone, right? And the next day I'm on the phone with him. I think he was just trying to give me a pep talk. He was like, hey man, just know that guys like us, we're not like everybody else. We're different, man. We got tiger blood running through our veins. We got fucking Adonis DNA. We got, we don't know how to lose, man, because we're always fucking winning, right? So I hear all this, and he's probably thinking, cool, man, I just kind of inspired him, maybe just to get to the next moment, That stuff went in there, man, and it stayed on a fucking loop. And I sat down, and the interview doesn't start like that, which is a trip. I'm trying to keep it together. I'm trying to give her the stuff she needs to, like, maybe, I don't even know. What was the thrust of that story? Being fired or some shit?
I don't remember.
So, but there's a moment that's not on film. And Andrea can't deny this. She makes a crack about these two girlfriends that I'm living with, right? And expects me to just let it just brush it off and then answer her next question. And I said, hold on a second. I said, that was really rude. She's like, which part? I'm like, well, how you just address them. You owe them an apology. And she was like, okay. I'm paraphrasing some of this, right? But this is the tone of it. And so
how did she address them?
I felt like they were dismissed as just like porn chicks, because one was a porn chick, the other was not. She's a girl named Natty, so she kind of got rolled into that,
right?
Unfairly, and so then Andrea's like, oh my God, okay, I'm sorry, I didn't mean anything by that, but I'm over here, with the thing, and I'm not letting it go. I asked her to apologize. We should have been past it. Now I'm stewing. Right? Yeah.
And so you're ramped up now.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's when it turned into. And then I start hearing Brian's stuff, and I'm like, I don't know, man. I have fucking tiger blood, and then it all just, and then it got away from me, and I couldn't pull it back. I couldn't pull it back, and then everybody's like, okay, well, that was different. I mean, it's kind of fucking interesting and unique and whatever, man. Well, let's just have a quiet night and we'll see how that plays out, And I wake up into a world of not the world I said goodnight to 6 hours earlier, and my friends are banging on the door. People are, sending me, videos and stuff, and he's like, dude. The world's on fire with your shit, man. I'm like, all right, what does that mean? And there's folk songs and rap songs, and people like marching in the streets, and there's already T-shirts, and it has just gone, it exploded.
Yeah.
And so it's not like I could jump on my roof with a bullhorn and say, all right, everybody, okay, let's just,
UFC fighters were saying they had tiger blood. They were joking around about it.
See? Yeah. I mean, it got, it got
away from you.
It penetrated, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it achieved penetration.
Well, no one had ever done an interview like that before.
I wasn't thinking about that in the moment. I was just fucking pissed, and I wasn't going to be sissy Charles from the 90s,
Right.
It was like this whole convergence of all these elements and all these emotions and all these feelings, and also the resentment I had in myself, and just like, all right, I'm just going to pick some targets, and would have been nice had it been sort of. If I could have just sort of been herded, just kind of, away from it,
Have you ever thought of what your life would be like if you didn't do that interview?
I've started to. No, I've started to try to walk into that village, right?
Uh-huh.
But as soon as I take a look around, none of it really makes sense because I can't really imagine it.